Hi, I'm John. This is my show, An American Scheme, where I'm proving that Diana Ross is Michael Jackson's actual mother. So, big part of my story is that Michael Jackson's a virgin. And the only reason he's a virgin is because he's so damaged by Diana Ross when Diana Ross told him the truth that he wasn't actually a Jackson, that he was actually the child of her and Smokey Robinson when Michael Jackson's about 10 years old and living with in Diana Ross's house. That's the whole thing. Because of that, he's so damaged, he stays a virgin his whole life. Now, if Michael Jackson's not a virgin, then he is definitely a pedophile. It's really blatantly obvious. And the fans are so stupid. You can get lost in Neverland because there's so many rides to enjoy, right? There's so many animals to play with. You can go do this, go do that. There's so many distractions. So the fans are easily distracted away from the truth. That's all there is to it. But the simple truth is the simple truth. Now, this is after Michael Jackson was first interrogated and had the first pedophile allegations made against him, right? They served a search warrant on him, which allowed the police to photograph his genitalia. Basically, make Michael Jackson porn and shit, right? That's what they did to him. This is him talking about that.
At every opportunity, the media has dissected and manipulated these allegations to reach their own conclusions. I ask all of you to wait and hear the truth before you label or condemn me. Don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent. I have been forced to submit to a dehumanizing and humiliating examination by the Santa Barbara County Sheriff Department and the Los Angeles Police Department earlier this week. They served a search warrant on me which allowed them to view and photograph my body, including my penis, my buttocks, my lower torso, thighs, and any other area that they wanted.
Any area that they wanted. Okay, so he said the media's misinterpreted or manipulated the evidence. He says, ask you to wait for the evidence. So it's like, okay, here I am being the media, and I'm just reporting on the evidence. Michael Jackson just said he was forced into a dehumanizing interrogation by the police, which allowed them to photograph his penis, his buttocks, his thighs, and any area that they wanted. Not just to view, to photograph, to document. Like make a porn. They're making Michael Jackson porn and shit, right? And why was Michael Jackson forced into this situation? Because he had a relationship with a young boy. Okay, so I'm not manipulating anything. I'm just the facts. Are those the facts of the case, Your Honor? Yes, those are the facts of the case, Your Honor. Michael Jackson was accused of being a pedophile because of a relationship with a young boy. Because of that, he was forced into this dehumanizing. He told you, it's a dehumanizing interrogation where they stripped him naked and photographed his whatever body parts they wanted. They photographed it. They did that to him. Okay, so because of this actions, after this, Michael Jackson never signed another endorsement. Now, there was a large financial payout because of this. All facts of the case. After that, Michael Jackson never signed a new endorsement deal ever again. There's a lot of things that occurred. I don't think he ever toured in America after this, too. I'm pretty sure that's how it worked, too. I mean, I think it was since earlier, but he could have toured in America after this and stuff, but I don't think he ever did and shit. He did little events and stuff, but I don't think he ever did any kind of tour. So, the ramifications, because of that instance of him having a relationship with a child, it was massive. It couldn't be any more serious. The things that affected his life because of this was on the most serious level, and he had to personally feel the effects of it financially and his public image, but also by being photographed. Like he said, he was dehumanized. He had to live with that. Okay? So after he did that, that's what happened to him. But at this time now, when he does the Martin Bashir interview, Michael's got all of his children because Blanket's born, because in that interview, that's the interview where he's hangs Blanket off of the balcony, right? So Michael Jackson's got 3 children at the time of which he would do this interview. So now, let's show you what he does in the interview.
That children from other families have come and they've stayed in your house. They've stayed in your bedroom.
Well, very few.
But, some have. And they say, is that really appropriate for a grown man to be doing that? How do you respond to that?
I feel sorry for them because...
Okay, you feel sorry for us. Okay, now, if Michael Jackson was a good father, because people want to argue, oh, Michael Jackson's a good father. Okay, you're going to tell me a good father who went through the previous investigation and was dehumanized and, discredited, lost a lot of his integrity as being, a good person. Lost a lot. There's no arguing that. That happened. And now he's got 3 children. So his primary job in as being a human being is to protect his children. His primary job is not being the king of pop. He's got money and stuff. So he doesn't have to be the king of pop. But he's a father of 3 children now. His primary job is to protect those children. And if he was of any interest of protecting those children, he would not do this right here. This is like, there's no way possible he would allow this to occur and put his children, he knows he's putting his children at risk because the cops can come in and photograph him naked if they want. What kind of interrogations are they going to do to the kids? What are the kids going to be submitted to have to go to psychological interrogations and sessions through these psychiatrists who are trying to dig into the kids to see if they're being abused by Michael Jackson? Dehumanizing situations. So Michael Jackson placed his children in a very vulnerable position where they could be forced to have to be interrogated by the police and have to go through this dehumanizing stuff. So Michael Jackson knows why that occurred because he was hanging out with children later in life after he's got 3 children. So if he just wants to hug a child, if he just needs some attention with children, well, he's got 3 children of his own. But what happened was those children are not his. He's a virgin. He had to get those children made their test tube babies, They're not his children, not even of his sperm. So those children, just when Michael hung around him, what he really was getting, instead of getting the clarity and the peace of mind of having a loving family, Michael Jackson just realized, oh, this is all a lie. This is all lies, right? It didn't work. So Michael had to go back to the thing that worked was these other kids, which he knows that if he goes and he does that with these other kids, if he spends time with them and shows affection toward them, he knows that he can be called a pedophile. He can be accused of doing inappropriate things to children, which could force the police to come in and do whatever they want. But did that stop Michael Jackson from doing this with children? No, didn't stop him. Didn't stop him at all because he's got a real problem. He's got the problem with what I'm saying, that he's the love child of Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson. Nothing could stop that. Nothing could stop the pain of what Michael could not fix that. There was nothing, the only thing that could fix that would be for the truth to come out and Michael Jackson to be accepted by Diana Ross and Smokey Robinson as their child. That's the only thing that ever could fix that. That never happened. Therefore, Michael Jackson went back to this source of comfort of which he had used before as these children. But he knows that doing that can cause these ramifications to have his family interrogated by the police and stuff. But he didn't care. And he doesn't care about the kids because what happens on the day he dies? His kids are in the house. What's Michael doing? He's up in the room getting high. And he was doing it every night. He had a doctor on duty so he could get high every night. He wasn't spending time with his children, making sure his children are protected and taken care of. No. What was his interest? To get rid of the pain that he's dealing with on the inside. And he was doing drugs to do that. So this totally blows everything out. So this proves that either Michael Jackson is a pedophile or that's it. Everything about what you people say, every argument of which you create is a lie. It's bullshit because you can't deal with this. The only thing that deals with this is when you get the true story to understand why is Michael so damaged because of Diana Ross informing him when he was about 10 years old that he was not a Jackson. That's where the damage comes from. And he can't fix that damage because he lived his whole life as a Jackson. Like I said, well, let's look at the actual evidence. I'm not manipulating anything. Did Michael Jackson live his life as a Jackson? Okay, yeah. If he was told by Diana Ross at 10 years old, that burden that he had to carry, is that the kind of damage that could occur that would lead him to thinking like he's Peter Pan and wanting to spend time with children outside of all the adult world because the adults have these preconceived notions of who they think Michael Jackson is? Michael Jackson, that just caused him pain. Every time he had to be around these people, and these people are saying, I love you and I know you and this, and Michael Jackson inside is just like, you don't know me. You don't know anything about me. You don't have any understanding of actually what I'm dealing with. That was the pain that was there. He could not get rid of the pain. What he did to ease some of that pain, and he found comfort in kids and just hanging around with children, and it could just release the pressure from him and stuff, right? So I say the only thing that explains why that makes it acceptable for him to hang around the kids is that he's a virgin. He has to be a virgin, because if he's ever had any sexual encounter in his life, then that means he has desires, he has understanding of sex. That means he has sex. If he ever has had any sex, then he's spending his time with kids. Why are we wrong to assume that he's having sex with kids then? So the only way, so anybody that says Michael Jackson is not a virgin, then what you were saying is that he is a pedophile, because when he chose, after his marriages, when he chose to spend private time with what would be of his desire, he chose kids. That's what he chose. So if he actually had marriages and was having sex, then after that he went right back to spending times with kids and spending his private time with kids and getting enjoyments from kids, well then he is a pedophile. So the only way to prove that he's not a pedophile is you have to prove that he's a virgin. Well, how could he possibly have remained a virgin? Well, that means you have to understand the damage that was done to him at 10 years old by Diana Ross telling him the truth, that she was his real mother and he was not a Jackson. My story's the only one that actually explains everything. I'm the only one who actually deals with everything. And the Michael Jackson fan community, they'll try and say, no, Michael's a good person. No, he's not. He's got 3 kids in the house at this time. And he's been subjected to a dehumanizing interrogation from the police, which resulted from his relationship with children. So at the time of which he needs to be protecting his children, he's not. He's putting them in the most vulnerable situation it can be. And just like you look at his death, he's placing his children in the most vulnerable position of which he can be. He's allowing other people to take care of his children while he's up in the room getting high. So there is no, anybody that tries to say Michael Jackson's a good person, that's bullshit. It's so easily proven that that's wrong. He did not care for his own children at this moment in time. He placed his children in the most vulnerable situation. And what happened? He got arrested. He had to go to a court trial. Where's his kids during all that stuff? What's their kids' emotions having to deal with all that stuff? Having to hear that their father is a pedophile and that maybe he just created those children so that he can sexually abuse them. Like that's what he did. That's what happened. He put them in that situation. There's no doubt about it. So anybody trying to say that Michael Jackson's a good person and all that stuff, that's just bullshit. You got to be stupid as fuck. And it's like, well, that's why you're a Michael Jackson fan, because you're stupid as fuck and you don't understand about anything in the real world, and you're fooled by all the king of pop glitz and glamour imagery. You don't care about what the songs are about. You just care, Michael got Grammys and Michael's in the Hall of Fame and Michael Jackson did a Super Bowl halftime show. You don't understand anything. That stuff means nothing. You don't understand anything of who he actually is or care about what he's done in his actual life. You don't care about the person, and he damn well knew it. That's why when he had a choice to hang out with anybody, he said, I'm going to hang out with these kids, these stupid fucking kids who don't know anything. Because I don't want him asking me these stupid fucking questions that these stupid adults who think that they're smart and think that they're fans, and all they do is ask me stupid frickin' questions. Michael Jackson clearly knew that his fans were stupid. If he actually enjoyed his fans, well then he would have liked spending time with them, and he would have liked hearing their questions, because he would have been like, oh, he would have loved to hear fans actually ask him real questions that actually dug into the truth of his psyche and understanding of stuff. He would have loved that, but that's not what ever happened. Fans just screamed and asked stupid fucking questions because they're stupid fucking fans. And Michael's like, well, if I'm going to hang around with stupid people, I'm going to hang around with some stupid kids then, because at least they're not asking me all those stupid fucking questions like all my stupid fucking fans ask me.